don't have some sort of a continuity program established every week where you're actually calling people, putting them onto a teleseminar of some sort, or some sort of a weekly update on what you're about, what you're doing, some of the cool stuff that you're putting together. If you're not doing some sort of webinar, if you're not doing anything except emailing people, I think email is a very wimpy way to contact people. Although you have, there's some strength in some of the numbers, but I don't think as a relationship builder it's nearly strong enough. And Rick had some great ideas, and you're going to see these on the videos, where he was talking about getting your best people together and throwing a really high-touch, interactive bar night where you can actually talk to people for 2 hours, and you foot the tab for the whole group. But the referrals that he gets out of these things are just incredible, and he just gets a lot of business and a lot of volume. So I think that's really, really integral that you do something as simple as that, but yet physically do it. Not be afraid of shelling out cost. It's definitely cheaper than direct mail. And while we're on the subject of direct mail, let me just talk about this real quick. I had about 15,000 pieces. I've heard of 40,000 pieces, working up a 10% margin. 2% is supposed to be phenomenal, but 10%, bottom line is this. The response was horrendously dismal. And the ones who did respond were tire kickers, and they didn't really want to buy anything. We did a simple test where we had 80 invites to a webinar, and 18 people bought something out of that number, which is actually pretty phenomenal. We didn't even go for a straight 100, but just 80 people. And that told me something. That told me that, hey, digital media, if it's done correctly, if you pre-record your sales pitches, it's a great way to go out there and promote and sell your products, which you should be doing anyways. And I'm really I had a syllabus here that I'm kind of working off of, but I really went off track. But I just kind of want to outline some of the things that I'm experiencing now in my company. Here's what it comes down to. I'm going back now to my notes. I think SEO, which is search engine optimization, is getting tiring, and I predicted its demise, and I to an extent, because I think it's going to be hybrid into many other different online life forms where companies can become visible. Now I know I get a lot of people out there who just flip out and say all kinds of ridiculous stuff about me, but I'm telling you the truth because I think it's important. I think it's important, absolutely important. But I also think too it's a launch pad for other disciplines that are now emerging, and so you need to be aware of these things. Because I also disagree with some of the news I'm reading that only certain towns can be prominent in SEO, which is complete bullshit, because you got these guys in Texas who are saying, hey, you know what, if it's not from North Texas, it's not real SEO. Well, that may be true for the beef industry, which you ram up our necks, but as far as search engine optimization, you're talking about a free virtual workspace that can be accessed from anywhere. So bottom line is this: if you have any brains in this industry, then you're good at the field, because you can access servers and different platforms from any place as long as you got a working computer. It doesn't matter what geographic location you're physically living in. I don't believe that, but that was at the top of the Google News today. So something came in my inbox, and I just found that very, I wouldn't say it's offensive, but I just find it very, very faulty and ridiculous. What a preposterous statement to make about your company, anyway, or an industry. But since your website workspace is this free-floating island, I think the only thing you really need is a fundamental understanding. And I don't necessarily even think you even need talent and being a good SEO. I think you need to have fundamental understanding of what directories talk to each other about a certain industry or a certain page, and how to get that ranked and listed. There's definitely many back doors now to become visible, and this is another reason why I think Web 2.0 is such a strong asset for a lot of companies, and it's highly underutilized. So that's something I really feel that's important for a lot of us to get a grasp on. You got 14-year-olds now who are out there cutting videos on how to create great SEO campaigns on YouTube, which is cute. But here's the thing: I think as a culture, we can't really be fault finding and saying, well, it's a kid, he hasn't paid his dues. We're living in a very fast, accelerated culture, so eventually this stuff is going to get out in the open, and people are going to find out how to do things for themselves. The question is, even if you are visible, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to make money in your field, company, or industry. And I know that's going to be a little tough for some of you to hear this, but I go through a lot of business profiles, and what I find out is that even when they get leads, a lot of companies do nothing with them. And in fact, there's no selling process. So let's say, for example, you get 15,000 leads, and that's just great. You think you're really flying high. But here's the thing: once you get these people, you got nothing. There's no online newsletter. You don't send them to any kind of online webinar. When you do sell them something, what are you giving away? A free CD, or maybe you're giving a free online teleseminar. And that's usually where it stops, because you haven't actually thought through the hierarchy of your sales process. Now, I can't speak for everyone, because there's a lot of companies out there that do something right. They do some of these things right. But, I mean, like a monthly CD commitment of $25 a month, $47 a month. You might have a teleseminar that's worth $297, and you can only take 200 people. You only have like 200 seats available. Or if you do open up a webinar, it's invitation only. I was telling somebody yesterday that I was reviewing a sales piece that someone had written about a webinar, and she said, well, it's free, anybody can look at it. And that's true, but here's the thing. I thought it's like buying a house and leaving the doors wide open, and there's no really perceived value to it. So I told her to add speed to it, because speed's my favorite way to sell. And I've probably talked about it in the past on the show, but speed is a great thing, because by that I'm only going to say, listen, the webinar is going to be online on Wednesday between the hours of 7 and 8:30 p.m. 50 seats. Now, honestly, you can go there any time and watch it, but the point is, I want people to feel that it's only going to be posted for a short time, and they can view it. So, to me, that's really, really important to create that mystique that, we have material, but you can only view it at a certain time. Pre-recorded media, it's very, very important. Camtasia, these guys are amazing. Now, they live over in, I think, upstate Michigan someplace. That company is a very good company. You can pre-record your own PowerPoint presentations, and which is nothing more than pre-canned media or pre-canned webinar without the expense of bar tab that we got socked with a few months back here on the Online Money Machine Show, courtesy of WebEx. Very confusing. So anyway, if you can sell with speed, that's a great way to do it, and use a pre-recorded tool. So those are some of the things I think that SEO is great, but you need some sort of back-end support on your own end. You can't lack the vision, because what happens is, and Rick Ruby really pointed this out, and I thought this is so funny. He says that anybody under 125,000 don't care about their businesses, and that's true. I'm finding out a lot of this myself, is that we don't really service that clientele as much as we used to, because we find them very fault-finding. They're not serious about what their investment is, and they don't take responsibility for the outcome of their actions. And I'm finding that out. We found that out the hard way, and we got rid of some bad eggs in our group. And we're only focusing now on companies that are willing to make a commitment and actually do something besides just turn their website on and stare at it. It's not going to cut it. So that's not what we